All right, so today we're going to talk about how a single, perfectly aimed question can literally change everything. And we're going to kick it off with a story that I bet sounds kind of familiar.
So picture this. You've been there, right? You're just killing time, maybe waiting for someone at the mall, and you wander into a shop. You have absolutely zero, and I mean zero, intention of buying anything. Well, that's exactly where the author of this story found himself. He's in a running store, just browsing, waiting for his wife to finish up somewhere else. He's not really a customer. He's just a guy with time on his hands. And his wallet, yeah, it was definitely staying in his pocket. Or so he thought.
Then a salesperson walks up to him. Now, we all know the drill. We're expecting the usual, right? Can I help you find anything? See anything you like? You know, the kind of questions that make it super easy to say, nope, just look in, and then they leave you alone. But this salesperson, she didn't ask any of those. Instead, she asks this. And just stop and think about that question for a second. It's brilliant. Why? Because she didn't ask about a problem he knew he had. She asked about a problem he didn't even know was a thing. And bam, with that one question, the whole situation flips. He's curious. My gait? What's that? Next thing you know, he's jogging on a treadmill in the store, watching a slow-motion video of his own feet hitting the ground. He's not just a browser anymore. He's part of a diagnostic. He's engaged.
And then, right there on the screen, clear as day, the salesperson points it out. See that? You're severely pronated. And this isn't just some fancy technical jargon. No, she explains it's a risk. It means extra stress on his ankles, his knees, even his hips. It means the potential for real pain and injury down the line. All of a sudden, this abstract idea became a very real problem. And this is where she really sealed the deal. She didn't just point out the problem. She tied it directly to a personal, painful consequence. The thought of seriously hurting himself. Now it's not just about feet, it's about his health. It's a powerful reason to actually care.
So, what do you think happened? The guy who walked in just to kill time walked out with a $150 pair of running shoes. And get this, he already had a pair of perfectly good sneakers at home, only 2 months old. But in his mind, those weren't just old shoes anymore. They were the wrong shoes, the dangerous shoes.
Okay, so this story is about way more than a smart sales pitch. It gets to a deep, fundamental truth about what we as humans actually find valuable. You see, most of us try to persuade people by talking about our solution, the features, the benefits, how great it is. But notice the salesperson barely talked about the shoe itself. She didn't mention the foam or the fancy laces. She spent all her energy uncovering the reason he needed to change. And here's the first big lesson. We think the value is baked into the thing we're offering, the product, the service, the idea, but it's not. The real value, the thing that actually gets someone to move, to act, is the reason to change. It's all about the why. I mean, think about it, right? If somebody doesn't think they have a problem, if there's no pain, no risk, no downside to what they're currently doing, then your amazing solution is totally worthless to them. It's a key for a lock they don't even know they have. And this is why the most persuasive people out there, whether they're leaders, marketers, or salespeople, don't just solve the problems people already know about. They are masters at helping people discover the hidden ones, the risks they've been taking all along without even realizing it.
So how can we do this? How can you become that person who helps others see what they've been missing? Well, it all comes back to asking the right kind of question.
Just look at the difference here. On one side, you can make a statement, a claim, our service saves you time. Okay, maybe. But look at the other side. You ask, have you ever actually measured how much time your team is losing on those manual tasks? The first is a pitch you can ignore. The second, that's an invitation for them to look at their own world and discover their own problem. These are the kinds of questions that make people stop and think. They completely reframe the conversation. It's no longer about, hey, want to buy my stuff? It's about, is there something important here that I'm overlooking? That's the opening you need to provide real value. And the goal here is absolutely critical. You ask to help someone uncover an issue, not to sound clever or to trap them. People will always resist change they don't feel is necessary. We will all just keep walking on our pronated feet until someone is kind enough to show us the video. And really, this idea is so much bigger than just selling. This applies to being a good leader, a good coach, a good parent, heck, any situation where you're trying to influence someone for the better.
I love this quote because it just nails the role you should be playing. Don't be the person who shows up with all the answers. Be the person who brings the tools for discovery. Be the one who says, hey, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but let's take a look at this together. Because true influence isn't about pushing your own solution. It's about giving someone else clarity. It's about helping them find their own reason to change. And that brings us to a really simple but powerful idea.
So, if you're in tech, don't sell the software. Sell the insight that the software gives them. Sell the analysis, not the shoe.
And ultimately, no matter what you do, no matter what you bring to the table, you've got to sell the why, the reason this matters, to them right now.
So, the next time you're about to make a pitch or have a big presentation or even just an important conversation, stop and ask yourself this one question. Because if you haven't helped them truly feel the reason to change, then your solution, no matter how great it is, has no value. But the moment they feel it, that's when you've earned the right to help them.